Hey everybody, JJ here, BX4. It is a late Sunday night. It is August 9th, 2020. Just wanted to put out this quick report. A lot of news I wanted to cover. It came out just in the past couple days. We've got a lot of stuff happening. We've got payroll tax holidays. We've got a continuation of the unemployment benefits. And not just unemployment benefits, but the bonus or enhanced benefits to unemployed individuals because of the infection shutdown. And we told you this was going to happen. Again, no politician is going to let this come crashing down on their watch. They're not going to let millions of people get evicted. They're not going to let unemployment benefits or enhanced unemployment benefits run out, thus causing even worse poverty than we're already seeing. Now the question is this just to get us to November, or is this going to be a hint of big things to come in the future? We're going to talk about that a little bit more here later in this report, but first, let's talk about what happened. So after weeks and weeks of negotiations for the next stimulus bill, well, it basically stalled. The negotiations were not anywhere near common ground. They couldn't see eye to eye. There were trillions of dollars in differences in the types of spending. For example, the left, they wanted a little more towards the states, basically bailing out the states. And all those differences. So the executive order came down, and the question again is this just for temporary support for what's happening in early November, or is this a real attempt to help the people? Well, in order to really help the people, you're going to have to completely revamp this system. So a temporary tax holiday is not going to fix the underlying problems, especially when you look at this V-shaped recovery that's not a V-shaped recovery. Right, that's the narrative that's been put out there, but there's no getting back to where we were pre-shutdown. It's simply impossible. There's too many small businesses that are wiped out for good, gone bankrupt, not reopening. Now the cancellation or the temporary suspension of the payroll tax that refers to FICA, that's Federal Insurance Contributions Act, has two parts. One part is Social Security, the other part's Medicare. Payroll tax is deducted from your paycheck over those two social programs. Now for Social Security you pay 6.2% of your earnings, and for Medicare you pay 1.45% of your earnings, but there's no limit on that. And this payroll tax cut means you keep this money in your paycheck. So yes, this is going to boost people's paycheck, and this could offer some temporary relief, but considering how other parts of this financial system are not being revamped. For example, they're continually lowering interest rates. That's causing the housing boom to keep home prices rising and rising. Mortgage rates another all-time low here just recently. They're continuing to allow the banks who are technically insolvent, they're allowing the banks to lend out money, which further creates demand and inflation and on and on. So they're trying to help a little bit here, but they're still, kicking people over there and robbing them of their wallets, right? And also what's going to happen on the other side, many people are saying this is just going to equal cuts to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. We already know that seniors in this country are having a very, very difficult time. Just think about inflation, and if someone is on a fixed income or Social Security where you get the same amount or maybe a small 1 or 2 percent increase each year, you are not keeping up with the rising cost of living. And when you look at what the government puts out there, they only look at a small basket of indicators to tell us if there's inflation or not. And they're saying there's hardly any inflation. But if you look at everything that we have to pay for, there is inflation. Food prices, energy prices, insurance, home prices, rents. Over the past several years, automobile prices. Rising prices wherever you look. And if you live in a place with a homeowners association, HOA fees are constantly going up. When was the last time you heard from your homeowners association saying that they're going to start lowering your monthly HOA bill? All right, when was the last time the post office lowered the price of a postage stamp? Right, this is an inflationary environment. And people on fixed incomes, seniors, people on Social Security, well, all the money that they paid into the system has many of them now barely scraping by, and many not able to make it at all, having to move in with relatives. Or they get put into a nursing home and everything they've worked for their entire life gets taken away to go towards those long-term health care costs. Now also let's talk about the eviction moratorium that was created under the CARES Act. It expired at the end of July, and it protected renters who were in buildings that had mortgages secured by federal government. An executive order was signed providing eviction protection through the Departments of Housing and Urban Development. Also, let's talk about the eviction moratorium that expired at the end of July that was initially implemented during the CARES Act. While the executive order also suggests financial assistance to renters, homeowners, lenders, and landlords, but it wasn't exactly clear on how much to each of those different areas we're going to see. But of course we know that if you give eviction protection, then you're going to have to help the homeowners, the landlords, because they can't just survive without rent. They're going to have expenses to pay. So now this stimulus or this bailout has to go up to the landlords, because then if the landlords don't pay their mortgages, then that goes up to the banks. So you're going to have to keep on liquefying the banks. So again, no surprise, it's continuing. It's stimulus, it's liquidity injections, it's deregulation. Now the $600 a week unemployment supplement payment had ended, but now it's going to drop down to $400 per week federal unemployment insurance through December 15th. So it is going to drop a little bit. So it looks like they're going to just keep kicking the can down the road. And on this channel I predicted this. We talked about how home prices were not going to drop in 2020. Many people gave me thumbs down on those types of reports that I put down. I said the government's going to come in. There's going to be lower mortgage rates. There's going to be bank deregulation. They took away the liquidity requirements, the reserve requirements rather, from the banks. We told her this was going to happen. I don't know any other channels they got it as right as we did. And I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that I do a lot of research, and I know that 98% of you agree with me, because a lot of it's just common sense, right? No politician wants this fake fiat, house of cards, Ponzi scheme, financial system coming down on their watch. Now, what really scares me is what's going to happen after 2020. That's why I keep telling everybody, prepare, prepare, prepare. No one knows what's coming. There could be a silver lining at the end of all this, because hopefully the crookedness of the system and the system's participants, including the banks and all of the puppet masters, hopefully that'll be exposed, and a lot of people that normally did not pay attention to these types of things, to financial, to economics, they're going to be forced to pay attention, like many of them are now. They're broke, and they're relying on stimulus checks and handouts to get by. All right, so let's keep stacking, let's keep preparing, let's keep analyzing the situation, the news. Another piece of news right here out of Market Watch. Job report gives Fed time to prepare more bazookas to help the economy. We know the Fed, they've announced it, they've admitted it, we've reported it here. They said it's going to be unlimited stimulus, whatever it takes. They've used those exact phrases, those exact quotes. One economist is saying the economy will need $5 to $10 trillion in help. $5 to $10 trillion. I remember back when the national debt was $8 trillion and people were freaking out. Now we're just talking about, during this shutdown, this infection recession, $5 to $10 trillion more in assistance to keep this whole thing from crashing down. It's simply just mind-boggling. I mean, there's no economist even a few years ago that predicted this level of intervention, but this is now exposing the truth. It exposes the fact that this is a fiat money system. Simply just mind-boggling, and this is not going to last forever. I hate to see what's going to happen after the spending stops, because it's going to be an ugly truth that's going to be exposed. It's going to be a rude awakening. It's going to be a harsh reality. And so many people, I think, are just going to be wiped out and devastated from this. And then maybe people will start paying attention instead of worrying about Disneyland, how many points their favorite athlete scored, or what the Kardashians had for dinner. We know one of the hardest hit groups in this downturn has been the Millennials, and 39% of younger Millennials say that they need to move back home with their parents. So scenes like this are going to be more and more common. And believe me, I remember when I first moved out of my parents' home, I did not want to go back. I did have to go back short term, a couple months here, a couple months there, after I had moved out into my late teens and into my early 20s. And not a good feeling, but this is going to be very common now. Families are going to have to band together. Okay, we're going to wrap this one up here. I told you it was going to be a short report. We'll try to get another report out tomorrow. Also, we've got a couple more reports coming out this week on our other platforms, so check us out over there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay prepared, stay well, stay above water. We'll see you soon. Bye.